Delegates to the Libertarian National Convention, my name is Arvin Vohra. I'm the former two-term vice chairman of the Libertarian Party. I've run for office for state legislature, for Congress, for Senate, and now I'm running for president of the United States of America. During this convention, you're going to learn a lot about the different candidates, but I'd like to be one of the first to welcome you. My brand of libertarianism is absolutely unapologetic, unyielding, unflinching, and uncompromising. I've represented hardcore libertarianism all across the United States of America, through town halls and major media, and all across the world through major media, international magazines, international news channels, and every time I have fought boldly, unapologetically, controversially for real libertarianism. I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I'm a voluntarist. I do not believe that government is the answer to difficult situations. I do not believe that government is the answer to the hard problems that face us every single day. I believe that voluntary action, that human genius, that creativity and innovation, individualism is what powers the greatness of any society. And the United States of America, a culture, a country built on individualism, is the absolute representative of that. Collectivism has seeped in, and I will fight it as I've fought it my entire life. During this convention, you're going to have a lot of people asking for your debate tokens and a lot of people asking for your vote. And I'm going to tell you why I should be the one to get your debate token and why I should be the one to get your vote. You're going to see a few different types of candidates. You're going to see some folks who are, I'm going to call them the magicians. These are the people that have some clever little trickety trick that's going to find some way to get around all the hard parts of this, will delicately thread that needle between one type of statism and a different type of statism, and somehow magically lead us to victory. Those people are lying. There's no easy way to do this. You're going to have some people who are going to tell you that I'm going to call them the panderers. And they're going to tell you what we need to do is somehow make libertarianism fit into statism. Show statists that libertarianism is just another type of statism. And they're going to say, listen, we don't need to talk about abolishing government schools, ending welfare, ending the income tax. We need to talk about these tiny little differences, these tiny little things that statists can accept. And that's true. They can present things that statists can accept. But statists can also accept Democrats and Republicans. And every year at the ballot box, they chicken out and vote for Democrats and Republicans. Then you're going to have the people that understand what political warfare looks like. They understand that culture creates politics. They understand, like I do, that this culture has created this government. And if we knocked down this government today, if we achieved our anarcho-capitalist dream today, then this culture would recreate this exact government tomorrow. If you don't believe me, look in 2019, during the partial government shutdown, Democrats and Republicans clamored to bring back the little bit of government that we'd managed to get rid of. And those weren't Democrat and Republican politicians or political bosses or evil crony capitalists. Those were normal people. Those were voters. Those are the people that we need to change. And when I say change, I don't mean pander to. I mean we're right, they're wrong. It's time for us to stop compromising and understanding that changing hearts and minds means that at the end of the change, their hearts and their minds are different and ours are not. Even the Libertarian National Committee decried the fact that the government shutdown had thrown the lives of federal workers into turmoil. And as I've said in many states, I am running for president to throw the lives of federal workers into turmoil. But turmoil doesn't have to be bad. Both of my parents were civil servants. I got to see them leave the government, not by choice, because the agencies were shutting down or reorganizing or whatever, leave the government and go from being just tired, bored, annoyed, mediocre bureaucrats to the great entrepreneurs I could be so proud to look up to. We talk about creative destruction in industry. Well, the same thing happens in our personal lives. in our personal choices, in the choice to leave the government, in the choice to refuse to join the military, in the choice to leave public schools, those are where we make ourselves truly free. It is through those choices, those voluntary choices to reject the government, that we make ourselves truly free. If I'm elected on my first day, I'm going to pardon Julian Assange, Ross Ulbricht, Edward Snowden, followed by all nonviolent drug users, traffickers, sellers, and anyone in jail for a weapon possession charge or a cryptocurrency charge. Now, there's going to be some people running who don't believe in jury nullification, or who don't believe that people like me should be allowed to talk about it. That's fine. That's their right. But it's our right to say, no, it is wrong to lie. And it's also our right to say that jury nullification brought freedom of the press to America. That's historically factual. During the Zenger trial, it was jury nullification that brought freedom of the press to America. And I guarantee you this, if I'm your nominee, as many people in America will know that freedom of the press came to America because of jury nullification. I guarantee as many people will know that as now know where Aleppo is, thanks to Gary Johnson. I will make sure that enough of us know the truth that we can halt the war on drugs, that we can halt the war on sex workers, that we can all become partners in chief in our own rights. I don't believe in compromise. I don't believe that a war can be won through compromise. I believe, as any military strategist will tell you, that all wars, or almost all wars, are wars of attrition. They're not wars of cleverness. They're wars of beating down the other side and not getting beaten down too badly yourself, so at the end of it, you're standing and they're not. But you're going to be hearing people that are going to tell you there's an easy way out of this. There's an easy way to do it. So I want to close by talking about a famous letter. You might have studied this in school, even in your government school if you went to a government school, or in a private school, or if you're homeschooled. It's a letter from Abigail Adams to her husband, John Adams. This was before the United States was even a country. And remember, this is Abigail Adams, the person who probably had more influence on John Adams than anyone ever has. And she wrote in this letter, she asked him to remember the women. She told them that all men would be tyrants if they could. And she asked that in their new republic, they protect women's rights. And do you know what that letter did? Absolutely nothing. It took women and male associates, male supporters of women's rights to 150 years to recognize the truth, which was that there's no way to beat the other side while pretending the other side is morally right. There's no way to do this without being absolutely uncompromising. I want you to think whatever you think is the worst thing in the world. Is it racism? Is it physically hurting somebody? Is it stealing from somebody? Whatever that thing is, the way that you look at that is how we need to look at statism if we're going to win. If we don't believe in our heart of hearts that statism is more morally wrong than slavery, or as morally wrong as slavery, that it's just another type of slavery, that it's more morally wrong than racism, if we don't believe that in our heart of hearts, we'll never win this culture war. We'll say, yeah, your side is right, but here's how we can fit in your side, which is another way of saying you win, I lose. I'm not running to find some way to pander libertarianism into statism. I'm running to win a culture war. And we have the numbers. We have 500,000 people. That's many times more than you need to win a culture war. We have the money. We have the resources. We have the media outreach. The only thing that we have to ask is, do we have the will? Do we have the will to say that statism is wrong, morally wrong, not just politically inexpedient, morally wrong? Do we have the will to say that using, attending, or working at a government school is morally wrong because it is a type of theft? Do we have the courage to say that joining the government's military is morally wrong because it's violently enforcing the will of sociopaths? Do we have the courage to say that being part of the enemy is morally wrong? And if we have that courage, and if you want somebody who will absolutely fight tooth and nail, never compromise, never retreat a single inch, and make sure that you're heard. I ask for your vote, for your debate token, and if you want to learn more about me, please visit my website at votevora.com. My name is Arvin Vohra, and I'm running for president to smash the state and end the status quo.